Okay, English language 4, yes. Religious studies 5, history 5, enterprise...
Some 300 students took their GCSEs at Tendring Technology College this year, and they pulled it out the bag.
I'm planning on going to Culture Sixth Form, and I'm hoping to do psychology, criminology and A-level history, and also do netball additional, and then I'm hoping to go into university and do law.
Cue one proud mum.
Oh, I was so emotional, I didn't realise it was going to be so emotional to get her GCSEs, but I'm so proud of her. She's worked really hard and they couldn't do it without the amazing teachers that put in the hours even after school, tutoring Fallon. Amazing.
Amazing, well done. Are you pleased?
Yeah, smashed it.
Fantastic.
I got 5 4s, which is what I needed to get into college, so I'm not even that mad.
Under the English grade system, 4 or above is a pass, while a 7 or higher roughly equates to an A.
I did put enough work in, that's all I'm happy about. I got 9s and 8s and that's what I'm so happy about. And let me just check. I got an 8 in maths and I thought I was only going to get a 7, so I'm just really happy with what I've got so far.
Archie picked up his envelope. Inside, all 7s, 8s and 9s. He's looking forward to A-levels.
I'm going to be taking further maths and electronics and music. Yeah. And I eventually want to go on into music and take that further.
The government hailed pupils for their hard work and overcoming the pandemic. This year group had only done 1 full term of secondary school when the first lockdown was announced. But as we saw with A-levels last week, inequalities between different regions of England stubbornly remain. London is again the highest performing area with more than 72% of grades marked 4 and above, compared with 63% in the West Midlands, the region with the lowest pass rate. More teenagers are being told to resit English or maths, with significant growth in the number of over 17s taking GCSEs. English language resits were up 25% on the previous year. Nearly 21% resitting it passed. Maths resits were up by 20%, only 17% passed. 2 head teachers' unions are calling for an end to compulsory resits in England, saying they put teenagers on a completely demoralising treadmill of repeated retakes. But the principal here says they're a good thing.
I think it's really important for pupils to be able to have a second chance. There are either home situations, social situations that may impact pupils at a moment in time. So we want to provide as much support as possible. And if they don't quite receive the grade that they deserve, then they should have that another opportunity to succeed in those core subjects.
Do most of your students pass those resits?
We have a much increased pass rate afterwards, and for those that are unable to pass, what we can do in that period of time is find them the correct pathways to then suit them when they move on to future careers or future successes within their life.
The Labour government says having a good standard of maths and English is key.
Every young person should have that strong foundation in maths and English, and we are committed to ensuring that is delivered. And that means putting in support at the very earliest stages of education. We want to see greater speech, communication and language support in place. We want to see breakfast clubs that give every child that good start to the day, put food in their stomachs, and also support parents with the cost of living as well.
Tendring Technology College has recently improved its own grades. It's gone from being rated inadequate by Ofsted to good, all while dealing with rack concrete. It's a day for the school and the students to celebrate their results.
Jane Death reporting there. Well, earlier I spoke to Sir Ian Balcombe, who is the chief regulator of Ofqual, the government department that regulates qualifications in England. And I began by asking him about the overall picture from today's results.
We returned to normal grading for GCSEs after the pandemic last year. So what we see this year is a stable pattern in grades that students are opening today. They're very similar to grades that we had last year.
I mean, one of the less bright parts of this story, though, are the ongoing inequalities which seem to litter education. Let's look at the regional disparities first. The gap between London and the rest of the country remains really significant. I mean, how do you explain that?
Many of these disparities are unfortunately long-standing disparities. They change a little year on year, and they have changed a little this year. The important thing is that when we hold the mirror of qualifications up to our educational achievements across the country, we see where the strengths and weaknesses are.
We've talked about it, certainly for the last 5-10 years, and yet the gaps aren't closing. Why is that?
COVID was a difficult moment, and COVID was a setback, and it caused some gaps to widen again. I know that teachers and head teachers up and down the country, until recently I was one, are committed to working to close those gaps.
And there's no doubt in your mind that further improvement is necessary.
Further improvement will always be necessary until the day when all regions are equally strongly performing, because these are young people's lives that we're talking about.
Absolutely, and one of the equally depressing aspects of today's results. Once again, huge numbers of children and young people have failed to get that critical grade 4 in maths and English.
Yes.
Many of them will be obliged to resit it.
Yes.
Many of those we know from previous years fail it again, which is trapping children and young people, many people would argue, in a sort of cycle of failure. Is it right that we make them resit these exams?
I think what I'd say to that is that the skills in English and maths that the critical grade 4 pass evidences are really important skills for further study, for employment, and indeed for future life. And I don't think it would be right to say to children, young people who haven't got that critical grade 4 and therefore don't have those skills, it's okay to stop studying English and maths.
Is it possible to say what we understand about why so many children and young people are failing? I mean, it can't be that the children are not capable? Is it that we're not teaching maths particularly well? What's your assessment of that?
Well, obviously teaching is a big part of building up to the level of expertise that you need to get a particular grade, but there are wider factors as well. I think what every school and college will be focused on doing is diagnosing the problems in each case and supporting young people to move forward with those critical skills.
And just finally, of course, this cohort were part of the COVID generation. You know, they've lived through teacher strikes. Many families really struggled through the cost of living crisis. You know, what do you say to all those children and young people, whatever their results were today? I mean, it's quite something to even have lived through all of this.
Absolutely, and I was still in school this time 5 years ago when the first lockdown arrived in March of year 7 for these students. What I would say to them is, congratulations and well done. You have proved your resilience. You've come through a difficult 5 years. And whatever your results today, remember, you as a person are not defined by your results. Seek advice. There will be a pathway that's right for you.
So Ian Balcombe, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you.